Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an idea that challenges the very nature of reality itself. It's called spiritual sight, and it all starts with a big question. What if what we see with our own two eyes isn't the whole story? So let's just jump right in. Are your eyes, the very tools you rely on to get through your day, actually telling you the whole truth? What if the reality they show you is just a tiny, tiny fraction of what's actually there? We're going to explore this through a pretty specific lens. Lesson 270 from A Course in Miracles. Now, this lesson proposes a radical shift in how we see things, a conscious choice to look beyond the limits of our physical senses. To really get what that means, we first have to look at the problem this idea is trying to solve, and that is the built-in limits of our physical perception. The goal here is basically to go beyond what our eyes show us. Instead of letting all that sensory data define what's real, this idea encourages us to look past the surface, to really question whether what we're seeing is all there is. And this leads us to a powerful and maybe even a challenging word, illusion. In this context, anything that isn't permanent, so the entire physical world that we see and measure, is considered an illusion. Not because it isn't physically there, but because it's not the ultimate lasting truth. Okay, so if our physical sight has its limits, what's the alternative? Well, this teaching offers a solution it calls spiritual sight. You can think of this as a kind of higher vision. It's a way of seeing that doesn't rely on your eyes at all, but on a sense of inner knowing. The idea is to perceive the unchanging truth that's always there, just kind of hidden beneath the chaotic surface of the material world. And the contrast between the two is pretty stark. One way of seeing is external, it's limited, and it can often lead to confusion and fear. The other is internal, expansive, and it's all about cultivating peace and clarity. So the real choice here is whether we get our sense of reality from the outside world or from a deeper inner understanding. And what does this spiritual sight actually see? It's looking for what this teaching calls spiritual reality, which is basically the eternal, unchanging truth of existence that lies completely beyond the temporary physical world. Now, I know this can all sound a little bit abstract, but the teaching offers some really concrete ways to actually develop this skill. So let's look at 3 practical exercises it suggests. It's a pretty straightforward 3-part approach. A meditation practice to quiet your senses, a daily affirmation to focus your intention, and a mindfulness exercise to apply all of this in the real world. First up, meditation. This is about intentionally disengaging from the noise of the outside world. By closing your eyes and just focusing on your breath, you quiet the chatter of your senses. The part about visualizing a light is a way to actively invite in a different kind of perception, one that comes from within. The second tool is a daily affirmation. Think of it like setting your intention for the day. When you repeat a simple phrase like this one, it acts like a little reminder for your brain, prompting you to actively look for a deeper perspective beyond the surface of things. And finally, there's the mindfulness exercise. This is where the practice really hits the pavement. When you're faced with a tough situation, the instruction is just to pause. Step back mentally for a second and ask yourself this question. It prompts you to look for a more loving or peaceful way to see things, instead of just reacting to what your eyes are showing you. So why do all this? What's the ultimate goal of shifting from physical to spiritual sight? Well, it all leads to what the Source describes as the path to inner peace. So what's the ultimate payoff? It's not just one single thing. It's about trading in confusion for clarity and swapping illusion for truth. According to the teaching, the final destination on this path is a really profound sense of inner peace that comes from seeing the world through a lens of love and unity. Now, this is a really, really important point. The teaching is not about literally walking around with your eyes closed. That's not it at all. The real emphasis is on changing your interpretation of what you see, choosing to look past the physical form to see the spiritual reality that's always underneath. And that brings us to our final question, the one we want to leave with you. This isn't about proving if any of this is true. It's way more personal. It's how can you learn to trust a kind of sight that goes beyond what your eyes tell you? That's a thought to carry with you. Thanks for joining us.